I'm gonna start the video from this side. That means first I show you the blocks and the other parts there, and then I'm showing you this. I'm gonna start from this, and then we're gonna put the first video. I have a reason, because this is gonna cover Mercedes, BMW, Volkswagen, Audi, the most engines. Like I said yesterday, it's between 3 and 4,000 millimeter, the difference on the color bearings. It was 4,000 millimeter. Yeah, I don't remember, because it doesn't make any sense that time when I was fixing, let us say, when I was checking the clearance, and when I was trying to show you that the crankshaft is out of specs. It didn't came the time. I'm still waiting the bearings. Alright? Fair enough. Fair enough. I didn't have so many chances to be correct, to be properly, to be honest with you. So, what's happening? These are the lower bearings. Also the upper is the same, but it's missing the violet, I think. Let's get this. You have the thickness. This is the thickness. This, the red color bearing, it's from 2.5 millimeters to 2.504. Alright? By the way, I made another mistake yesterday. I was thinking this one that was in the middle and was have minus and positive, let us say, but no, it's not. Alright? Let's make that clear. Then, this is because it's Volkswagen Audi. If it was Mercedes, I know exactly, I remember how much it is. Still, even if I remember, I'm gonna turn on the computer and I'm gonna read it out again, to don't make any mistake. Not out of memory. It's not something that you're gonna rely on your memory to follow up. Alright, the thing is, the final results. The final, how it's gonna be at the end. Alright, fair enough. Then, we have, like I said, red color, 2.5 millimeter thickness to 2.504. Now, to don't be confused, I'm considering this one as a 2.502. Okay? The same thing now with the yellow one, that it's from 504 to 508. I'm considering 506. This is much better, let us say, for the numbers. And again, like I said yesterday, 1 to 2,000 millimeter, it's not affecting anything. You're not gonna have any problem. Trust me on that. You have plus minus 2,000 millimeter. That means the red color, or the yellow, or the blue, or the white, or the violet, or the black, it can be between, let us say, the red one, 2.5 to 2.504. Okay? The yellow, it can be 2.504 to 2.508, and so on. Understood? It's following, it's changing the bearings by 4,000 millimeter. Now, it says to you from the factory that, you know what, for the oil that I'm using, for the oil pump that I have, for the dimensions, for the clearance, because it's a cast iron block, I want the clearance to be the correct clearance. It's going to be between 0.017 to 0.037. This is not out of my mind. This is on the computer what says for the specific CJX engine blocks. Right? 1 second. Alright? So, that means your target is to don't be tight, to don't be loose. Your target is 0.027, as close to 0.027. Okay? And still you have plus minus 2,000 millimeter. That means if it is 0.029 or if it's a 0.025, you're fine. You don't have any problem. So, let's get one scenario now. You open the engine, you close by again, and you don't have an oil pressure. It's very difficult to have a problem from the crankshaft main bearings, because even if you make mistake, even if you're on the limit, or if you are, let's say, 0.04 of millimeter, for example, you're not gonna have so much oil pressure drop. How I'm saying that? I have seen engines that I have rebuilt before. The specific engines that I came here, actually, the bearings was wrong. If you see the bearings, it was all yellow, the used one, the old one, and this is completely wrong. It's not suffering from an oil pressure from the crankshaft main bearings, because it cannot be way out. It's not like if it was, let us say, 0.06 of millimeter, and all of them there was at 0.06 of millimeter, then you're gonna have an oil pressure drop, but not that much. What's gonna be the effect? As much as more clear as you have, let us say if you're at 0.05, after 10-20,000 kilometers, then you're gonna see the symptoms. Then you're gonna see shiny things inside of the oil because of the bearings. Some bearings you're gonna destroy, you're gonna get destroyed. You're not gonna have an oil pressure. Later on, after 10 to 20,000 kilometers, you're gonna see that. If it's more tight, you're gonna see the first 500 kilometers, I guess. when you make the first oil change, you're gonna see inside the oil filter bearing materials when you're tight, when you're too much tight. When you're, let us say, 0.04, you're out of specs. You're not gonna produce any metallic shavings inside from the bearing. You're not gonna destroy the bearing, but in long terms, you're not gonna have long terms. You're not gonna make the engine 100,000 kilometers when you have so much clearance. When you are when you are not using external oil cooler and you keep the oil temperature more than 100 degrees and you use the original oil what they're adjusting from the factory. That's what I'm talking about. Why I'm saying that? Because if you throw inside, let us say, grease instead of oil and you preheat it at 80 degrees and you keep it at 80 degrees, example, you can be 0.05. You get my point? It depends what they're adjusting. Now, in this case, it's covering the bone stock application. Without modification of the oil cooler, that means the oil temperature is gonna be between 100 and 110 degrees. Okay, you're gonna have probably 5W40 or 040, depends in which country you're running the engine. Okay, and you have these specs. Now, I like that I said something fast to finish and go outside because I'm busy. How lovely. Now, the oil pressure, like I said, you have to be way out. You have to make a big mistake. Or you have to, like this one, for example, if I use the bearings that's adjusting what says here the block and what says the crankshaft, and I just close it in and I said, you know what? I use what's adjusting, from the factory. Yeah, but the crankshaft, it's not the original. It's not original. It is original, but it's from a different block. This is changing all the story. Or let us say the block, it's not 0 kilometers. It has, let us say, 100,000 kilometers, 150,000 kilometers. It has some heat cycles. So since you can fix it properly, you can make, let us say, more perfect, more close to be easy, to be the same clearance in all of them. Why don't do it? Plus, the crankshaft, it's a used crankshaft. They're not gonna bring me a brand new crankshaft. When they bring me the used crankshaft, I have to send it for polishing. When you're polishing a crankshaft, usually you remove 2,000 to 3,000 millimeters. That's why I was saying also on the Mercedes, on the AMG, that sometimes, let us say, when you have, for example, it's not the same, it's similar. When you have, let us say, 5 or 6, and you send for polishing, and you measure it before and after, and it's removed, let us say, 2,000 to 3,000 millimeter, you can go here. Or you can use exactly the same. It depends what clearance is given to you. Now, performance-wise, you are in a hot country with external oil cooler, and you're using 10W60 because the weather, it can support the 10W60. That means you don't have a cold start. The coldest start is gonna be, let's say, 20 degrees ambient temperature, Celsius. So you can easily use 10W60. Usually, the cold start is at 30 degrees here. Okay? So, you don't want to be with 10W60 at 0.27. At least me. You do whatever you want, okay? My target's at 0.032. I was willing to don't say that, but screw it, no worries. Why it's at 0.032? Because of the 10W60 and because of the oil temperature. For these two reasons. Now, like I said, it's very difficult to have an oil pressure loss except if you did something really wrong on the crankshaft bearings. Let's try to give one example. Let me try to give one example to be more understandable on what I'm saying. Okay, let us say that the black color bearing, the black one that has the most thickness, it's 2.522, 2.522 of millimeter, okay? Let us say on the specific journal that we're gonna put the black colored bearing, it's giving to you 0.037 of millimeter clearance, alright? Now, this is how I'm saying that you can screw it up, but again, you're not gonna lose so much oil pressure. You have to use, let us say, on this journal, the black one, that's the last one, the most thick bearing, and like I said, it's giving to you a clearance on the limit. Alright? You are loose, let us say, for example. It's gonna work fine. It will gonna work fine. Now, let us say you don't put the black one and you put the red one. That the red one, it's the first bearing. It's supposed to be the thickness 2.502. Okay, and it's giving to you, if you do that, these 200 millimeters, you're gonna be added on the clearance, and it's gonna be 0.057 millimeter. Again, you are way off. By doing that at the beginning, you're gonna have a good oil pressure. You're gonna be fine. After 10-20,000 kilometers, then you're gonna see the symptoms. But for the beginning, you're gonna be fine. Later on in the future, you don't have reliability. You're not gonna be healthy later on. So don't be confused with the connectional bearings, because some people, they think also the connectional bearings to be more loose, more tight. This has to do also with the pre-ignition detonations, because you can destroy the connectional bearings from this thing, especially the upper half of the connectional bearing. That's a different story. Don't go there. Don't go there. Again, you have to deal with the clearance of the crankshaft main bearings, connectional bearings. Why? Because on the same engine, it's on the same crankshaft. You have to see you have to deal with the dimensions, you have to deal with the compressors, you have to deal with some things, and this is from experience and from the wear. And by opening, let us say, you know why I'm lucky? I'm lucky because I have there are some cases that I'm opening brand new engines with 100 kilometers, okay, or 0 kilometers in some cases. And I'm lucky because I'm opening engines with 50,000 kilometers, 100,000 kilometers, 150, 200. Some of them they're stock, some other they're stage 2, some other they're heavily tuned. So if you have your eyes open, I have said that before, I'm gonna say that again. If you have your eyes open and you want to be good on your job, you're gonna spend on these engines, even if they're used, before you see, let us say that you have a melt piston or melt valve, or you have, let us say, a problem, any problem. Do not start opening the things and throw it left and right and say that, you know what, okay, that's the problem, and finish the story. No. Get a micrometer, get the tools, get a pen and paper, put it down, and say that this engine, I know that it was this model, he made these kilometers, the customer, let us say he was half stage 2, he was pushing daily, for example. Make one small note to know what's happening. Then get some measurements and keep it there. In the future, this will gonna help you. What kind of connectors he was using, if it was a stock connector, if it was a stock connector bearings, let us say, or for the crankshaft down. All this, it's a knowledge and it's experience. And then based on this, you're gonna continue and you're gonna go the step forward. You're not gonna start playing out of mind with the customer cars. That's why it's very important, the experience. Because if you go, let us say, to school or to whoever, they're not going to open for you. And then maybe they're going to open for you an engine with 300,000 kilometers, but they're going to open one, and they're going to close again the same, and they're going to open again. You don't have so many experience, if you like. Anyhow, I like that I said that it's going to be a small video. Yay, how lovely. Get used to it. Good luck, man. What kind of title are we going to put here? I'm going outside to work. Thank you. Have a nice day. Let me say something real quick, because I have to go outside. It's a good chance when you come early in the morning, you have more time with quiet to work peaceful. So, regarding these two blocks, I said yesterday that the upper bearings, they're red and the last one blue. Make mistake, they're all red. It doesn't say something because I have to check it again at the end. So I'm waiting the bearings. That's what I said. Now, this crankshaft is for the billet crankshaft rear seal, and also all these parts are for the crankshaft rear billet seal. Here I have a couple of parts, couple of bearings. They're not all of them. And like I said, I need this one. This has already upgrade valves, but I need the valve guides for the cylinder head. Where I put the cylinder head? The cylinder heads are here. The cylinder heads are here. So this one, this with a billet, and this one's with a stock one. The one with the billet crankshaft rear seal is the one with the epoxy. And I don't have a clue what are we gonna do with that. The customer, he didn't inform me how we're gonna continue with that. For this one I need guides. Guides has already this valve, upgrade valves. I need upgrade valves for this cylinder head, just to be safe, to don't have any headache. Then, so because I have the crankshaft from the other block that I returned back at the office to be returned back to the customer, I have the crankshaft that belongs to this engine, but I have the used engine block that we purchase. This one I'm talking about, that we hone it at 83 millimeters. The previous one was already at 83. This one, with the stock crankshaft rear seal, have the crankshaft that has run out and I throw it outside. I will gonna return it back at the office. And the parts are here. The parts are here. This is with the stock valves. And the heat also the valves. Classic, like always. So, just to don't have any headache. Alright. Do I have to mention anything else? The BWA is still here, obviously. I need valve seats, valve guides. Valves are okay. Some gears for the chain, bearings, connection bearings I have. I think I have connection bearings. Crankshaft main bearings, couple of bolts and this other stuff. I mentioned already that for the BWA. It's a little bit mixed up, the videos. Yes, it is a little bit mixed up, because when you see CJX and CHH rebuild engine, all these engines are from the same customer. So that's why I'm continue posting it, and you see some numbers 29, 30. That's why it's a little bit mess. At least you have a date stamp, and I'm trying to be reasonable how to see the next the next step, let us say, if you like. Standing by the blocks, yes, I can wash. No need to wash it. Why? No need to wash it. Let's finish with the plastic cage, with the crankshaft and all these things, and then when I finish from that, then we're gonna wash it for final. One friend of mine, now he asked me, he's not gonna have any problem to hear it in English, right? I think, let me open the computer. I have a reason why I'm saying that, because he asked me something specific. He asked me if have same different bearings, let us say the diesel Volkswagen Audi. Honestly, I have no clue, because like I said before a couple of times ago, that I never touch a diesel open diesel engine. I don't have experience, I have no clue. It's supposed to be the same. Keep in mind that back in 90s, there is no color code to play to 3 to 4,000 of millimeter and make it, let us say, precise the crankshaft. Think about something. Let me write something down here. Maybe I'm gonna be able to answer. I don't want to open now the computer. Why I'm saying that? Back in the days, there was a repair stage, and there was, let us say, 0.25 millimeter more thick bearing, so you can hit the journal of the crankshaft, and then you can put the oversized bearing, call it a day, right? It depends where's the problem. You can do that only on the main bearings on the crankshaft, or you can do it only on the connecting bearings, on the connecting journals. Sorry, either you're gonna make it on the journals of the main bearings on the crankshaft, or the connecting journal, or you can do it in both. It depends the problem. It depends the wear. It depends if there was any problem, whatever. Now let me show you something. I'm gonna write down how much supposed to be the clearance, the tolerance. With the diesel oil, I guess you're gonna have a little bit more of a clearance. I guess you can have more clearance, or you're gonna be more tight, but I don't know. It's a diesel. Honestly, I don't know. I know that it has different compression ratio. I know that they have different pistons. I know that there are some difference. If there is, no. Let me answer on the oil pressure. How you can lose an oil pressure from the crankshaft main bearings. It's not that easy. It's not so easy. And I make another one mistake. Yesterday I said that the yellow is the 01, but the yellow is not the 01. It's with the stage. Let me write it down, because I'm gonna mix up again everything. Give me a second.